Good morning. As Yetide said, I served as the first senior advisor for climate change for the Navy and Marine Corps. Hoorah. I'm okay, we can do that too. One team, one fight. I'm a 21-year Navy veteran, almost 5-year Navy civilian. And so coming to what was a political appointment was like coming home. I literally came back to the same office that I retired out of. And so I was deeply, deeply embedded in the mission of the Navy and Marine Corps. I drafted along with a working group of about over 100 people from across the entire organization, we drafted our first climate change strategy for the Navy and Marine Corps. And recently, senior Department of Defense and Department of the Navy officials have been making pretty flashy statements and videos, repealing that policy and saying, we don't do climate change. Well, we don't do climate change does you. Our strategy was clear. We were not starting from scratch. These were not newfangled initiatives. We were building and accelerating efforts that the Navy and Marine Corps and all the services had been promoting for decades. The first mention of climate and national security came from George H.W. Bush back in 1991. It was in seminal security documents starting in 2008, recognizing climate as a national security threat across Republican and Democratic administrations. So we weren't starting from scratch, we weren't doing something new, and we were very clear that everything we would do was going to be 100% mission aligned and mission centered. That was our North Star. And when people would ask me, oh, what trade-offs are you going to make between climate change and mission? I would say none, period. And if you think we are, please come see me, because we will not do that. I would also say very clearly that I was doing my job in a way that I thought any Republican or Democratic administration, and most importantly, the American taxpayer, would be proud of and would be aligned with, because that's my job. That was my job. So what kinds of things did we do? What was this woke agenda that we pursued? I'll give you just a few examples. It was software to optimize ship routes so they could cross the ocean more efficiently using less gas. Same software to optimize logistics and refueling for multiple ships and carrier strike groups. It was unmanned aerial refuelers so that you would have a tanker up in the air that didn't have a pilot in harm's way and could stay up in the air longer, providing fuel to more pilots, more missions. It was leveraging our land, leasing it out to utility companies, private energy developers to develop solar that would feed us in a crisis and feed defense communities clean energy. We've massive investments to upgrade our electrical infrastructure, our electric grid. Little known fact, a place like Naval Station Norfolk loses power on average 150 times per year. That's not just climate change, that's a combination of things. That's aging infrastructure coupled with flooding, et cetera, but it doesn't matter. We can't have that, because when you have a power surge on a submarine, that can cost you $12 million each time. For a DDG, that would cost you $5 million each time. So we were very serious about getting our power quality, our reliability, and our grid infrastructure stabilized. That helps us in a climate scenario, and that just helps us make us better warfighters. We achieved the first net zero energy base at Marine Corps Logistics Base Albany, and that was something that had been a decade in the making. That's not something that we just did overnight. And how did that look? That involved partnering with the county landfill to tap their methane gas, partnering with Procter & Gamble to use their waste steam, solar on parking lots. It was an all of the above approach, and that base came together. Why? Because they saved hundreds of thousands of dollars per month on their electric bill. And it was great for the climate. I could go on. I will just say a few more things. The Navy is as a naval service, coastal service. We have dozens of installations that are facing severe erosion, threats from storm surge, sea level rise, etc. In places like the Pacific Missile Range facility in Hawaii, it's kind of on the side of a cliff, and it's a missile range facility. You have very key telemetry radar equipment on the side of this cliff, and it is facing extreme erosion. So we funded projects to stem that erosion. Naval Station Mayport, there's a facility that houses ordnance, right? Again, that it's really susceptible to storm surge. So we're investing in things like living shorelines to protect that ordnance from falling into the ocean, roadways from falling into the ocean. At a desert base like Naval Air Weapons Station China Lake, 1.1 million acres, very, very dry. When we had some of these, now we're seeing these atmospheric rivers, when those hit, $60 to $100 million worth of damage to roads. So we're investing in things like natural infrastructure. How can we slow this water so it doesn't take out our roads and doesn't prevent us from doing the critical mission of that base? I could go on, but I think the themes that I'm trying to highlight for you is we did things like partner with private capital, partner with states and communities, all to make our bases, our systems more efficient and more lethal. And I think that's what the American taxpayer expects and deserves.